රිවයින් කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා මුකුත් මගේ වෙන්නේ.
BOTV TV බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Making headlines on First at 9. Responding to New York Times, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says his election campaign was not funded by China, refuses all allegations from the New York Times expose.
And reputed media organization, they do not worry much about the content they publish.
So therefore, please be careful in what you are trying to tell the people of this country.
Strengthening the economy. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government has allocated around 200 billion rupees for several development projects. Efforts for a happy society. An organization comes forward to facilitate a community free from harassment and abuse.
They're helping to ensure that people understand their rights in the workplace to avoid sexual harassment.
Shocking defeat. Both Argentina and Portugal were bow out of the World Cup, eliminating much hopefuls Messi and Ronaldo. Assuring democracy. Mexico goes for the presidential polls after campaign marred by some of the worst political violence in the country. A very good evening to you and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katrina Chang. Now on to your top story tonight. Releasing an official statement to media, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa confirms that no contribution was made by China Harbour to his 2015 presidential election campaign, following allegations made on the New York Times article published on the 25th of this month. He went on to say that the writer of the New York Times article, Maria Abi Habib, has been intentionally vague about who had given this money and who had received it, and it is a way of carrying out a smear campaign without incurring any liability. This was in response to the allegation that the former president received $7.6 million from China Harbour, which was distributed in checks 10 days before polls opened. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa issued a communique today in clarification to allegations made by the New York Times article, which the former president stated has prompted, quote, political opponents to make a carnival of it, like marching to the FCID and holding press conferences calling for presidential inquiries, unquote. He added that the main allegation in the article stating that $7.6 million had been given to the former president's campaign contributions by China Harbour during the 2015 presidential elections is based on a Reuters report that appeared in July 2015. It is during this period, he said, that the new government has suspended all Chinese-funded projects. The former president highlighted that no contribution was made by China Harbour to the 2015 presidential election campaign. The statement further read that the writer of the New York Times article has been intentionally vague about it, who had given this money and who had received it, adding that it seems to be a way of carrying out a smear campaign without incurring any liability. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa went on to add that, quote, even though the New York Times writer appears to be unaware of it, the government did not use the $1,120 million received from the port lease to repay the loan taken to build it, but instead it went to the treasury to meet the day-to-day expenditure of the government, unquote. The former president went on to say that claims made by the author that China obtained the Hambantota harbour and an additional 15,000 acres from Sri Lanka due to the debt trap that China inveigles Sri Lanka into was false, as there was never any Chinese debt trap. The former president added that allegations of China financing the Hambantota port project with the ulterior motive of ensnaring Sri Lanka in the debt trap, even though the feasibility studies saying the port wouldn't work, is also false. Furthermore, the release also noted that the Hambantota port was actually built at a lower cost than the estimates in the Ramble and SNC Lavalin feasibility reports, stressing that China provided the best deal, taking into account recommendations made by the lending nation. The former president added that given what has taken place after 2015, he has no doubt that he is now the preferred partner of India as well, after the New York Times described him as China's preferred partner. Meanwhile, various views were expressed in the political arena on the controversial New York Times article today as well.
And we believe those statements were made for political reasons. So the question we have If these investigations are independent and if these investigations are carried out independently without any sort of political interferences, how come those sensitive information was given to an international media organization? In New York Times article, at one point it says that the Hambantota port was developed without a proper feasibility study. I must deny that, and not only deny it, I have the 2 copies of the feasibility studies that was conducted, one by the UMP government, that was in 2003, and the second feasibility study which was conducted by President Chandrika Bandaranaike, when President Rajapaksa was the Prime Minister in that government. I also deny the fact that it says that we have received money for the 2015 presidential campaign. It is totally absurd how they come up with all these stories, but knowing the history of New York Times, going through the certain articles that they have published in recent history, in the recent past, it is clear evident that even though it's a very respectable and reputed media organization, they do not worry much about the content they publish. So it is sad to see such a reputed organization is actually publishing things that are not true and that is not being confirmed.
Now this comes in the light of 3.5 years of investigation by the FCID. This government came with the solemn pledge that the FCID will hunt all the Rajapaksas who have robbed and bring them to book. The FCID has been a complete waste of time. They have not been able to bring anyone to court. They have not been able to bring anyone to justice. So now, is this government going to believe the FCID report? Okay, if they are going to believe it, then there comes another problem. There is a request from the international community for foreign judges. Are we going to accept the foreign judges? Then there is another issue. After the war, there was a Channel 9, there was a video against the atrocities, so-called atrocities of the security forces. Are we going to accept that video also? So therefore, please be careful in what you are trying to tell the people of this country. If you are going to accept the New York Times report, then you will have to accept foreign judges, then you will have to accept the Channel 9 video, and it will open the floodgates for us. And as a sovereign country, we cannot afford to do this.
නිව්යෝක් ටයිම්ස් පුවත්පත පිළිබඳව හොඳම සහතිකය දෙන්නේ ඇමරිකාවේ ජනාධිපති ඩොනල්ඩ් ට්‍රම්ප්. ඩොනල්ඩ් ට්‍රම්ප් මහත්තයම කියනවා නිව්යෝක් ටයිම්ස් පුවත්පතේ යන්නේ පට්ටපල් බොරු කියලා.
ඩොලර් මිලියන 7.6ක් චීන සමාගමකින් කප්පන් වශයෙන් ගත්තා රටේ සම්පත් විකුණන්නටත් ඒ වගේම ගියවර මැතිවරණය පාවා දෙන්නටත් කියන එක අද පැහැදිලි වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ අපරාධකරුවන්ට නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න අපි සැදී පැහැදී ඉන්නවා. ඒක අපි ඉදිරියේදී ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා.
මට පුදුමයකුත් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මේ නිවුස් එක එලිටලා දවස් දෙකක් විතර වෙනවා. මම තාමත් ආණ්ඩුව පැත්තෙන් කවුරුත් කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ.
හැමදාම චෝදනා කරගෙන ඉඳලා වැඩක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අවුරුදු 3මාර ගියා. ඉතිරලා තියෙන අවුරුදු 2මාරයි. මේ අවුරුදු 2මාරටත් මේ චෝදනා කරගෙන ඉඳලා අන්තිමට කිසිම දෙයක් අපි රට වෙනුවෙන් කරන්නේ නැතුව මේ ගමන අවසන් වෙනවා.
The Prime Minister's office released a communique today clarifying recent remarks by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on national security, which he made at the memorial conference of the late economist Dr. Saman Kelagama. Highlighting a Premier's statement on coming to an agreement of common interest by both Sri Lanka and China, the communique said that the government has emphasized the Chinese government that it cannot use the Hambantota port for military purposes. The communique emphasized that responsibility of maintaining the security of the port lies with Sri Lanka Navy and that southern base of the Navy will be relocated at the Hambantota port. It went on to clarify that Prime Minister at any point in time had not made the remark that government will not object to foreign military interference with regard to the port's security. The Prime Minister has also emphasized that Hambantota port will only function as a commercial port, which will boost the necessary economic development of Hambantota and Monragala districts. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says around 200 billion rupees have been allocated for long-term development projects and initiatives by the government, which are expected to be implemented this year and the next. The Prime Minister expressed these views addressing a ceremony in Kandy to present title deeds for lands.
A ceremony to hand over title deeds for lands in Kandy and Matale was held in Kalabokka in Panvila under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
දැන් දිගම්බර මැතිතුමා යටතේ මේ වතුකරේ ලැබෙන අයට අපි දෙන්නේ ගයක් නෙමෙයි. ජීවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ප්‍රජාවට ගමක් දෙනවා. අන්න එහෙම අපි බලන්නේ අලුත් ආර්ථිකයක් ඇති කරන්න. ඒත් මේ ඔක්කොම කරේ සැලැස්මක් අනුව. මම බොරු කියන්න ගියේ නෑ. මේ අවුරුද්දේ අපේ ගම්පෙරළිය එන්ටර්ප්‍රයිස් ලංකා ස්වශක්ති විමධ්‍යගත අයව ගම්මට්ටමේ පාරවල් මේ ඔක්කොම අරගත්තොත් රුපියල් බිලියන 160ක් 200ක් මේ අවුරුද්දේ එන අවුරුද්දේ වියදම් වෙනවා. අමාරුවෙන් ඒකයි පළවෙනි අවුරුදු 3 බඩ ගාගෙන හරි බැනුම් අහලා හරි මිනිස්සු කෙල ගැහුවත් හරි මේ ආණ්ඩුව ගෙනිච්චි. අපි නිකන් සටන් පාට කියලා රට බේර ගන්නවා සිංහල අනතුරේ කියලා නෑ. වැඩේ කරා. අපි බාරගත්තේ ලෝකේ තියෙන විශාලම පිහිනුම් තටාකය. දැන් නැව්වෙන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. අපි බාරගත්ත මොනරු ඉන්න ගුවන් තොටුපොළ. ජාත්‍යන්තර ගුවන් තොටුපොළ උදෙත් ආවේ මොනරු හැන්දෑවෙත් මොනරු. පිට උනේත් මොනරු. ඉතින් මොනරු නිසා අපි ගිහින් ගබඩාව ගිහින් දැම්ම වී ටික. අඩුවන්න මොනරු කන්න පුළුවන්. මේ අවුරුද්ද අවසානයේදී එතෙන්ට ගුවන් යාන එනවා. දැන් අපි බෝගම්බර දියුණු කරාම විශාල සංචාරක නගරයක් වෙනවා. එක පැත්තකින් ගාල්ල කොටුව මහනුවර බෝගම්බර. මේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරගෙන යන්නේ. එකක් කරත් එකක් නම් මං ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ මහනුවර කරන්න. නයිට් රේසර්ස් බෑ. මේකයි ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මේවා ගැන පත්තරවල කියවනවද? මේවා ගැන මාධ්‍ය කියවනවද? මේ ගැන දෙරණ තියනවද? කිසිම ප්‍රශ්න මේවා දාන්නේ නැහැ. මේවා මන් දන්නේ අදවත් තියේදවත් කියලා මේ රූපවාහිනී කොහොම ඔබතුමාලා ආවේ නිසා මෙතන කතා කරලා අපි යන්න.
Minister of Finance and Mass Media Mangala Samaraweera accuses MP Namal Rajapaksa of establishing a special media unit with the support of Russia, which aims at driving propaganda to criticize the government. The minister made the accusation at a seminar held in Mathura yesterday.
A seminar was organised by the civil society organisation Platform for Freedom in Mathura yesterday under the theme Shall We Bid Adieu to Democracy?
අද මං හිතන්නේ ඇමරිකාවේවත් නැති ජනමාධ්‍ය නිදහසක් මේ ලංකාවේ තියෙනවා. ඇත්ත කියන්න පුළුවන්, බොරු කියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ සඳහා නාමල් රාජපක්ෂගේ විශේෂ ඒකකයක් මම මේ වගකීමෙන් කියන්නේ. රුසියාවේ ආධාර ඇතුව විශේෂ ඒකකයකුත් පිහිටවල තියෙනවා. ඔය අපි මොනවා හරි දැම්මම ඒවට බැනගෙන යන්නේ ඇත්තටම මිනිස්සුયો නෙමෙයි. සිංහල නම් තියෙන පුංචි ට්‍රෝල්ලා. ඒවට කියන්නේ ට්‍රෝල් කියලා. ඒක ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම අංකයක් විතරයි. ඒවා ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ යුක්‍රේනයෙන්, රුසියාවෙන්
Parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa at a media briefing today responded to the accusations by Minister Samaraweera.
විශේෂ ඒකකයක් දානවා නම් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලාම උපදෙස් ගන්නේ මංගල සමරවීර මහත්මයාගේ. මොකද එතුමා තමයි ඔකට එක්ස්පර්ට්. එතුමා තමයි මිස්ටර් බීන් කියන චරිතය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයා නිර්මාණය කරේ. ඉතින් එහෙම එකක් දාන්න ඕන නම් මම රුසියාවට ටිකට් එකක් කරලා යන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මංගල සමරවීර මහත්මයා ගෙදරට ගියා නම් කතා කරලා වැඩේ කියලා දෙයි. හැබැයි ඉතින් මේක තමයි මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. ජාත්‍යන්තර ප්‍රශ්න වලට ආණ්ඩුව අත ගහනවා කියන්නේ ඕකයි. අපුව පාවිච්චි කරනවා ඒ රටවල වලට ගහන. ඉතින් අපිට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ මංගල සමරවීර ගරු ඇමතිවරයා. මේ ප්‍රකාශය කෙරුවේ නාමල් රාජපක්ෂට ගහන්නද රුසියාවට ගහන්නද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ අපිට තියෙනවා.
Former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa says that the time has come to focus not just about toppling the current government, but also about establishing a successful government in the next period. He made this remark today at a conference by the Elia organisation.
The Mathale District Conference organised by the Elia Civil Society organisation was held at the TB Tennakon Memorial Hall in Galewala today.
අපි දන්නවා අපිට හුඟක් අය දෝෂාරෝපණය කරනවා චීනෙන් ණය ගත්තා කියලා. ඇයි ලෝක බැංකුවෙන් ජාත්‍යන්තර මුල්ල අරමුදලෙන් ණය ගන්නේ නැත්තේ මොකද කියලා. අපි දැන් දකිනවා අද මේ ලෝක බැංකුව සජාත්‍යන්තර මුල්ල අරමුදල වැනි ආයතන මේ රජයට ණය දීලා උන් ඒහා සමග එකතු කර තිබෙන වෙනස්කම් නිසා අද මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියන කාරණා. බලන්න අවුරුදු 3ක් තුල මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂට පුළුවන් වුණා මේ රටේ අවුරුදු 27ක් තිබිච්ච ත්‍රස්තවාදය නැති කරලා දාන්න. මේ රජයට පුළුවන් වුණා අවුරුදු 3ක් ඇතුළත මුළු රටම නැති කරලා දාන්න. මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ ආණ්ඩුවක් නැවත බලයට ආවොත් මේ අය ඇති කරපු ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය විනාශ වෙයි කියලා කියනවා. හැබැයි නැවත ත්‍රස්තවාදයට හිස ඔසවන්නට දෙනව නම් පාතාලේ නැවත හිස ඔසවනවා නම් ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදයක් ආරක්ෂා කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? මෙන්න මේ වගේ අරාජික තත්ත්වයකට අද මේ රටපත් වෙලා මුස්ලිම් සමාජය ඕන්න මුලා කරා. අද තමුන්නාන්සලා දන්නව ඇත්ත මොකද්ද කියලා. දැන් අදත් ඒගොල්ලෝ හිතාගෙන ඉන්න තමුන්නාන්සලා නැවතත් මෝඩයෝ කරන්න. නමුත් අපි මේ රජය පෙරලනවා පමණක් නෙවෙයි ඉදිරියේදී එන රජය මොන ආකාරයෙන්ද වැඩ කළ යුත්තේ කියන කාරණේ පිළිබඳවත් අපේ වඩාත්ම හිත යොමු කළ යුතුයි.
Stand By Me, an organisation geared towards building a community free from harassment and abuse, was launched in Colombo yesterday. Many dignitaries, including the Ambassador of the United States in Sri Lanka, Atul Keshap, as well as cricketing legend Sanat Jayasuriya, participated at the event.
Ambassador of the United States in Sri Lanka, Atul Keshap, expressed the following views to First at 9 at the launch of the Stand By Me organization.
They're helping to ensure that people understand their rights in the workplace, to avoid sexual harassment, and to be able to work and contribute to the betterment and happiness of society. So I really appreciate what Stand By Me is aiming to do. They're trying to make sure that everybody can feel safe in the workplace, avoid the evil of sexual harassment, and have recourse to the resources needed to ensure that they have full support to work and contribute to the happiness of society to their fullest potential.
Let's now take a look at some of the stories making news across Sri Lanka.
Police Narcotics Bureau has apprehended a Brazilian national at the Bandaranaike International Airport with cocaine capsules worth 13 million rupees. The suspect caught concealing 66 cocaine capsules by swallowing them. The individual was hospitalized to extract the capsules from his stomach. Meanwhile, police also arrested another Brazilian at the airport today for carrying around 100 cocaine capsules in the same manner. Veteran actor and film director Roy De Silva passed away at the age of 80 while being treated at the Sri Jayawardhanapura Hospital yesterday. After studying at St. Sebastian's College in Moratuwa and St. Joseph's College in Colombo, he commenced his career from stage dramas. Roy De Silva began his film acting career from the Sinhala film Sujage Rahasa and ventured into film direction in 1977 as a director of comedy films. The funeral of the veteran will take place in Colombo tomorrow. Chamara Lakshan Kumara, the editor-in-chief of the Silumina and Reza newspapers, passed away at the age of 39 yesterday following a heart attack. Educated at CWW Kannangara Vidyalaya in Matugama, Chamara began his career in journalism with the Lagbema newspaper. He also served as a journalist for the Rivira and Irudina newspapers. He was a master's graduate in political science and a widely respected media personality. His remains lie at his residence in Matugama and the funeral will take place at Athulat Mudaligama on Wednesday.
Watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
An article published by the former Central Bank Governor Ajit Niwad Cabral under the title "The Government's Growth Scam," which she alleges that the government made certain dubious and ad hoc adjustments to the nominal GDP and GDP deflator figures of several years in order to change the nominal and real GDP growth rates, has prompted a response from the Ministry of Finance today. Issuing a communique, the Ministry of Finance says that figures pertaining to three debt-to-GDP ratios mentioned in the article was arrived subjectively at his own GDP value as 12,967 billion rupees, whereas the official figure is 13,289 billion rupees.
The Ministry of Finance issued a communique today in response to the former central bank governor's article, "The Government's Growth Scam," which claims that there is some discrepancy in published statistics on gross domestic product and government's debt-to-GDP ratio. The Ministry of Finance stated, quote, "The writer in his article had mentioned three debt-to-GDP ratios applicable as at end of 2017, while arriving subjectively at his own GDP value as rupees 12,967 billion, whereas the official figure is rupees 13,289 billion, unquote. They further stated that the officially published ratio of debt to GDP in 2017 is 77.6%. However, Ajit Niwad Cabral has endeavoured to manipulate this official figure of the debt to GDP ratio as 82.5% for reasons only known to him. The ministry further went on to clarify that as per the decisions taken by the then Cabinet of Ministers during the period of 2010 to 2013, the loan obtained by certain state-owned enterprises were not included in the government's financial statements. Accordingly, the previous government had transferred the loan balances of Hambantota Port Project, Mattala Airport, Ceylon Electricity Board and the Airport and Aviation Services Authority from the central government's financial statement on the assumption that these debts could be repaid by the respective source. They further stressed that the General Treasury has nothing to hide about the debt to GDP ratio or the highest debt liabilities to be meted out in 2018 and 2019. The communique further reads that the General Treasury relies on the independent GDP compiling authority, namely Department of Census and Statistics, when it comes to computing ratios of government statistics vis-à-vis GDP. Hence, the so-called debt or GDP ratio of 82.5% as reported in the newspaper article is a hypothetical figure for which the General Treasury would not need to comment on.
Market analysts expect market activity and turnover levels to remain moderate over the upcoming week. The average daily turnover for the week was up from last week to Rs 736 million. Let's now cross over to Dimantha Matthew from First Capital Holdings with your weekly forecast for the upcoming week.
Following the heavy decline in the index and the prevailing attractive valuations, we expect some buying interest to step into the market. Turnover levels and activity are likely to remain moderate, with bulk of the investors waiting for the market to bottom out. Despite the uncertainty, leaving most investors on a wait-and-see mode, we expect some early movers to come in with buying interest. Foreign selling pressure that is there prevailing in the market is likely to slowly get absorbed through in the confidence levels also of the market.
German car maker BMW has warned that US tariffs on imported cars could lead the company to reduce investment and cut jobs in the United States due to the large number of cars it exports from its South Carolina plant. The company said that the manufacturing plant in South Carolina is its largest globally and ships more than 70% of its annual production to other export markets. Last month, US President Donald Trump's administration launched an investigation into whether auto imports posed a national security threat, and Trump has warned or threatened to impose a 20% tariff on all import of EU-assembled cars. Chinese tariffs on US passenger cars imposed in retaliation for US duties on Chinese goods have already hiked up the cost of exporting to China. Any US tariffs would likely lead to further retaliatory measures from China and the European Union. In addition, high tariffs on components imported to the United States would make other production locations outside the country more competitive. Coming back to one of local news now, Ceylon Petroleum Corporation says they will stop fuel supplies on credit to Sri Lankan Airlines if outstanding amount is not paid by next Wednesday, the 4th of July. Let's now cross over to a short commercial break.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Welcome back to the news. Millions of Mexican voters are currently heading to polls to choose their next president after a campaign marred by some of the worst political violence in the country. This is Mexico's largest election in history.
More than 18,000 government posts are up for grabs in Mexico's presidential election, ranging from local governments to the top job in the presidential residence Los Pinos. Outgoing President Enrique Peña Nieto's Institutional Revolutionary Party faces an uphill battle in the vote, coming in third with their candidate José Antonio Miede. In second place is centre-right candidate Ricardo Anaya, who vowed to investigate the outgoing government on corruption allegations. Frontrunner López Obrador holds a double-digit lead over his rival, capitalizing on discontent with the country's political class. Electoral officials said 88 million people are eligible to vote in the election. International observers are in place for what is considered of one of the most deadliest elections in the Mexican history. The 2018 electoral season kicked off in September last year, where 113 politicians were killed across Latin America's number 2 economy. Foreign correspondents said that much of the violence during the campaign has been carried out by criminal groups attempting to control local politics.
The frantic search and rescue operations for the 12 young boys and their football coach inside a cave in Thailand entered its 8th day today. There has still been no contact with the boys or their coach.
12 boys aged between 11 to 16 and their 25-year-old football coach went missing on 23rd of June when they went off to explore the vast Tham Luang cave complex in Thailand's northern province of Chiang Rai after soccer practices. With the boys' way out blocked by flood waters from the heavy rains, rescuers are hoping that they made it through to an elevated rock mound in one of the underground chambers far under the mountain. Chinese and Australian teams of rescue experts have also arrived at the cave and are helping other international teams present to help with the search. Thai medical experts say the group's survival depends on whether they find fresh drinking water. Adding that the group could survive 8 days without food, medical experts went on to say that the group was at risk from infection from unclean water or contact with an animal inside the cave. Cave temperatures are believed to be between 20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and the porous limestone rock means there should be enough oxygen, although some caves in the region are known to contain bad air pockets with carbon dioxide. Messages the children sent before setting off to explore the cave suggest they had taken torches and some food. Rescuers have also been searching through jungle on the mountainside for alternative entrances to the caves. Experts have said there is a good chance the limestone cave does have other entrances.
A notorious gangster has escaped by helicopter from a prison in the Paris region today. Redouane Faid was held by several heavily armed men who created diversion at the prison entrance while the helicopter landed in the courtyard. The helicopter flew to the nearby Gonis area, where it was later found by local police. Police sources told the French news channels that the fugitive had switched vehicles and is now on the run. The 46-year-old has been serving a 25-year sentence for a failed robbery during which a police officer was killed. This is his second prison break in 2013. He escaped after seizing 4 guards as human shields and blowing several doors off with dynamite. He staged that escape less than half an hour after arriving at a prison in northern France. Redouane Faid is said to be devoted to Robert De Niro movies and the stylized crime thrillers of US director Michael Mann. Matilda Carlson became the first Sri Lankan woman to participate in an international show jumping event as she debuted for Sri Lanka in Monaco after changing her nationality from Swedish to Sri Lankan. Carlson, who was a Swedish female show jumper rider and one of the regulars in the Global Champion Tour circuit, decided to change her nationality debut for Sri Lanka. Competing at the Global Championship Tour in Monaco, which concluded yesterday, she was ranked 15th out of 56 countries at the 1.45-meter jumping level. Before changing nationality, Carlson has competed at the Global Championship Tour competitions and has won the 4th place in New Munster and 3rd place in the GP of San Remo as career highlights. She is expected to take part in World Equestrian Games in September this year.
This is a great round here so far.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening to our viewers and welcome to Forecast First. Starting off with your temperatures for tomorrow, they are to vary between 20 and 33 degrees Celsius with the highest of 33 expected in Mullaitivu. Well, when looking at the map, a low pressure zone will develop in the western province and will gradually disappear. Well, it will be a sunny day for the areas of Jaffna and Mannar, but many parts of the island, including Vavuniya, Anuradhapura, Kandy, Colombo, Galle and Matara as well as Hambantota will experience showers with thunder activity also expected. That's all from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your City by City forecast.
And before we go, we'd like to take you to Koh Phangan, one of the most beautiful islands in the world, located off the central Gulf coast of southern Thailand. The best time to visit the island is in the season during December to March, when the water is said to be high, clean and good for swimming. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.
bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.